I'm fashion designer Ruby Bhandari, and this is Design Your Life. Each episode, we're stitching a happier, more satisfying life for you with insider tips from industry experts. The fashion and lifestyle industry isn't just fabric and thread. Together, we'll learn about setting real goals and growing your look, your soul, and your attitude to make your dreams a reality. Come with me to design your life.
Hello, 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 everyone. Back to Design Your Life with Ruby Bhandari. Thank you guys so much. I know we changed the time to 6 o'clock. I hope it's more convenient for you to come on at 6 instead of 5. This is our live session before One Solar TV's recorded session at 6:30. So we are here live because we like to do everything very authentically, and we want you to be able to ask questions. So I just want to start with a little bit of housekeeping. We're not going to give the winner of the cooking contest until next week. October 8th is when we are announcing the cooking contest winners. So we have a first place and a second place winner. And for those of you who can get onto the Silkthreads page, please look at our semifinalists and give them a shout out, a like, a comment. You know, they all want to be encouraged because they are all so talented. So you guys, we had 17 people that finally entered and turned in everything they needed to turn in. And we picked our top 5 semifinalists, the most talented, amazing women. You guys will be so surprised when you see all that. We are going to try to go on live with each one of them with their dish before next week, before we announce the winner. So we're going to look forward to that. And that will be at all different times, and it'll become completely random. So you guys watch the videos on my page whenever you can, so you can see what each and every one of them has made. Next thing you guys need to know is that the teeth whitening contest, we're picking 3 people with Dr. Sonia Reddy, and then we're choosing one person who's going to get a 30-minute free video consultation with Preeti Bala so that you can feng shui your house. So both of those winners we will announce also next week. So there's a lot of winners coming up. Super exciting next week for everyone. So we're going to have people who are winning teeth whitening, people who are going to win feng shui video, and then we're going to find out who the most talented women are in Dallas and out, who are our most creative chefs during COVID. So now the last thing before we start our program, we are planning our Diwali sale, Silkthreads Diwali sale, virtual sale is going to happen on October 7th. And for those of you whom I spoke with, the opinion is that I need to do it later. So I'm going to do it at 8:30 in the evening. If you guys have a comment about me doing the sale at 8:30 in the evening, the Silkthreads Diwali sale, please put it in the comments, or do let me know that you like the time, don't like the time, or you think I should go back to 6 o'clock. So that is to be determined, but the date is October 7th, Wednesday, for our big Diwali sale. So that'll be a part 1, and we will definitely have a part 2 of the Diwali sale as soon as we get a little bit more merchandise in. So we're going to start with our first merchandise, and then we are going to have a second sale with our second merchandise, and we will let you know when it is. All right, so now I want to introduce to you a very special guest, someone I've been friends with for many, many, many years, and I have learned so much from in the last couple of months because of some happenings in India. So as you guys know, Sushant Singh Rajput, one of our huge Bollywood stars, was, he died. I don't want to say everything now. He died on June 14th this year, smack in the middle of pandemic. And it was shocking for the world. I would like to introduce to you today our SSR warrior and the owner of Turquoise Touch Jewelry, Poonam Shah.
Hi, everybody.
Yay! I'm clapping for you because I'm so excited to have you here.
We're together.
We are together. And you know what? So on One Solar TV, you guys, if you guys go to the Facebook page of One Solar TV, Poonam and I have done a recording, and you guys are going to get the entire timeline for Sushant Singh Rajput's case and what's happening. For those of you who don't know who he is, can you give us just in a nutshell what happened on June 14th, or what people thought happened, and you know how the case is just a quick synopsis?
Sure. So for the unversed, Sushant Singh Rajput was a hugely successful Bollywood star. He was an actor par excellence and one of my favorites. His work I have been following for a long, long time because he was not only unconventional in his approach, but also a out of box thinker. So I adored him for that unconventional approach that he had. Unfortunately, we lost him on 14th of June this year, and it has been a huge loss, a huge traumatic loss to the industry. And ever since then, the scene in Bombay has not been the same amidst COVID and all of the other complications of life. Now everybody has to deal with media trials, all the different kinds of hypotheses and theories that are circulating around the cause of his demise. Some said it was because of professional rivalry and nepotism and some important projects.
Yeah, people thought that he committed suicide because he was found hung.
Yeah.
Now,
Well, he actually was not found hung. Nobody has seen
Oh, okay.
the hanging. That was the version that was said by the on-site help at his home.
Okay.
Technically, till date, not a single person has seen the actual hanging, and which is why the theory of suicide was very, very debatable from day one.
Okay, I have never seen you talk about anything or anyone so much in my life. I mean, how many years have we known each other?
10 to speak at the least.
And you don't, this is like, why are you so drawn to this case?
I actually, and this is something, it took me a while to understand why I was so obsessed with him. I mean, we all loved him as a family. He was a family favorite. So that was definitely one of the reasons. But so was Irfan Khan, or so were other actors who we lost this year. Unfortunately, we lost a lot of creative people this year. COVID hasn't been easy on any of us. But his case was completely different. And the reason I was so drawn to him is because of the person who he was when he was not on the screen. He was an extremely gentle soul, a very, very noble guy. Everybody has flaws. I'm sure he had his too. But he was somebody that I really, really emulated. And unfortunately, the light in which I came to know him after his demise, I wish I had known him as much and adored him as much while he was there. Because unfortunately, the way human beings work, we always tend to read up and emulate more after a person is gone because there is a certain mystery around their passing, and we suddenly feel the need to get to know them better.
Yeah, well, you know what? There's a video that I saw, and it changed my image of a standard Bollywood star, and I want to play
that. And he didn't fit any of the boxes. He was just so unconventional.
And I have this video where he is actually talking about the future of education. So we're going to play that for you now.
टाइम से भी अगर कुछ ज़्यादा इमीडिएट टाइम हो सकता है तो वो टाइम है अभी बिकॉज दिस इज़ फॉर श्योर आवर इग्नोरेंस कैन नॉट स्टॉप व्हाट इज़ इनएविटेबल और मैं जो इनएविटेबिलिटी की बात कर रहा हूँ वो है जो अभी टेक्नोलॉजी से भी आएगी आपको मैं एक फैक्ट देता हूँ 65% ऑफ द किड्स हु आर गोइंग टू किंडरगार्टन दिस ईयर विल एंड अप इफ दे एवर एंड अप हैविंग अ जॉब will end up working for technologies that are still not invented yet. तो जब ऐसा होता है तो schools को भी पता नहीं होता कि वो पढ़ाएं क्या. तो अभी हम ऐसे स्टेट पे हैं कि हमें पता ही नहीं है कि हमें पढ़ाना भी क्या चाहिए. तो हम कितना अच्छा पढ़ते हैं और आपस में हमारी रैंकिंग क्या है ये तो इममटीरियल हो गया. मैं आपको पूरे ग्लोबल प्रॉब्लम बता रहा हूँ. हमें नया नॉलेज स्ट्रक्चर बना रहे हैं एजुकेशन का जिसमें हम इमोशनल क्वोशंट पे ज़्यादा ध्यान दे रहे हैं जिसमें हम बच्चों को ये बता रहे हैं कि अननोन सिचुएशंस में कैसे डील करें क्योंकि हमेशा अननोन सिचुएशंस ही होंगे क्योंकि अब रेट ऑफ चेंज इंक्रीज हो रहा है. पहले चेंज कांस्टेंट था अब रेट ऑफ चेंज इंक्रीज हो रहा है तो हमें ही नहीं पता कि क्या होने वाला है. सो फॉर दैट योर इमोशनल स्टेबिलिटी इज़ वेरी वेरी रिक्वायर्ड. सो इमोशनल क्वोशंट पे ज़्यादा ध्यान दिया जा रहा है. कोडिंग सिखाई जा रही है बच्चों को क्योंकि अगर आपको कोडिंग नहीं आती 5 साल के अंदर अभी जैसे आप मैं कुछ भी हो सकता हूँ आप कुछ भी हो सकते हैं जैसे हमें अंग्रेजी आती है.
So have you ever heard a Bollywood star speak about the future of kids' education? He's saying that 65% of kids that are in school are going to be working for technology, for IT companies, for technology which we don't even have yet.
Exactly.
I mean, what is his reason for talking about that? He's a Bollywood star. He's an actor.
And that is what I love about this guy, is because he was so much an out-of-box thinker. He talks about bringing emotional quotient in education, because all these years during my education, I've only talked about or heard about intelligence quotient. We always talk about iska IQ itna hai, iska IQ itna hai. Never have we ever discussed about emotional quotient. So the points he used to raise in his interviews were so relevant, and he understood the importance of us as a generation being in a very transient period of technology, and we're at the cutting edge of so much development that's happening. He had that futuristic vision to leverage all of the resources that he earned by virtue of being a star, and not just use it for a selfish purpose to satisfy his lavish lifestyle, but he actually wanted to make a difference. He wanted to make a difference in the community. He wanted to make a difference in the society. He was visioning a better tomorrow for our kids.
I think
how can you not love a person like that?
True. How can you not love a person like that? Well, there's some more things that, he had a very interesting, you guys, he had a bucket list.
Yes.
So Poonam and I were just discussing, I don't even have a bucket list. Do you guys have a bucket list? Now, for those of you who are on, also, if you have any comments or something about Sushant that you want to add, can you write it in the comments, please? I see all of you ladies on. Let me get on here really quick.
Sure. We can.
I see Sonali, I see Radhika, Priya, Avni, Jingle, Mamta, Vicky, Ritu, Dishi, Ronika, Navi, Rima, Alu. Did I say Sonali already?
Yes.
Sonali, I love you. And I know you're following Poonam and Sushant very, very closely. So if you have any comments, I know, Ronika, you are very knowledgeable about this. I'm not sure if Krupa has already gotten on, but for those of you who do have knowledge or some comments, this is a learning session for all of us.
Yes.
And I do want to I want to talk about his bucket.
So much that I have read, understood, and known about him. It may be impossible virtually to even encapsulate it today in our half an hour or 1 hour session that we're gonna do, because that man was so amazing. He just did. There isn't a thing in the world that he probably hasn't attempted or read or not tried.
Well, we're going to show a video in a couple of minutes for when he actually went to NASA in Houston to prepare for a role. But just, can you read off some of this bucket list?
And I'm going to randomly, So he had a 150 pointer bucket list originally. He had put together a pro team that was helping him in his endeavors to fulfill that bucket list. And later they truncated it to 50 most important things for whatever reason.
So just read out some of the most
things
important.
Were like, learn how to fly a plane, which he did. He learned how to fly a plane. He was a very fit person, so he was training for the Ironman triathlon, which is a very, very difficult fitness regime. Those of you who are into fitness, he was a very ambidextrous person, which means he could write and play tennis and cricket with both hands, which requires a lot of brain coordination.
Well, everything we do is with one hand generally. Where
and he could write at the same time with both hands in reverse. So that is something that I found was very amazing. He definitely was an expert coder because he was a physics Olympiad winner. And he was amongst the top 8 IEEE finalists for engineering exams. He had cleared 11 of them and was in the top 5 of them. Some of his philanthropic activities, which were also a part of his bucket list, he was sending kids to NASA to learn about space. So he was not only doing things for himself, but he's donated so much money to Nagaland, Israel, Kerala for their floods and never mentioned anything about it.
So quick question, is it true? I have a question from Sonali that he owns land on the moon.
He was the first Indian to actually buy land on moon because he was a stargazer. He was obsessed with the Andromeda galaxy. He had a very, very expensive telescope in his house, which he used to use to gaze at Saturn rings, study the stars and the solar system and the galaxy. He was extremely interested in astrophysics, quantum science, metaphysical things which are like not even known to common people. And this guy we're talking about is a Bollywood star. Half of the Bollywood industry has probably not even graduated.
Yeah, I don't think they have. Yeah. It's all a family thing.
I always felt like he was such a misfit for all the right reasons. He should have really been a scientist.
Yeah, well, let's watch this video. about how he went to.
I feel that lines are blurring between science and philosophy and other subjects too.
Talking about science, he's all set to make a trip to the moon. So how was it being, and we've got him down to Mother Earth for just this conversation.
I'm still over the moon.
So what was it like being at NASA? We saw all those wonderful pictures.
Very, very excited. I was like a kid in a candy store, and they had to force me to come back to India because they were scared कि मैं कभी acting नहीं करूँगा उसके बाद. All those theories that I had very peacefully coexisted with in the schools, all those physics and maths formulas, but those are just theories, right? You get to experience it after so many years for the first time in a long, long time. I mean, I was so excited. I can't explain it. It's just that it's one of a few of my favorite days of my life.
So 4 days of training. So what was that like?
So I did everything. I was so excited that I ended up doing everything twice. So yes, I was in a centrifuge. I got to 3.5 Gs that you actually feel when you're flying a Saturn V rocket. And I did it again and again for 25 minutes. And they were like, oh, are you supposed to throw up? Because you actually throw up. But no, I was not. I was like, yeah, I was in that centrifuge. It's a very cramped, claustrophobic thing. And then I did multi-axis simulator where you're flowing in all the axes. It's like you're tumbling in space. So that was good. That was disorienting. And then what I did, then I walked on the moon one sixth of your weight.
What is it like to do the moonwalk?
It's very different from the moonwalks that we do on stage, definitely. But yes, I was tired in the first few steps, but then I figured out a way to walk. It can be sideways, so I can show it to you later. So yeah, I devised a way, and also I worked on all the simulators, Orion and all. I flew them, I landed them again and again successfully, and they were surprised. They were like, he has done it before. Well, in my head, I have done it before, but yes, experiencing it for the first time, it was something else.
Maybe you might just get a job at NASA.
I might just quit.
You guys, how detail-oriented was he?
Can you see what kind of a perfectionist he was? I mean, everything that he undertook, he wanted to do it to perfection, which also included the type of roles. He had actually a very meticulous process for choosing his roles in movies. So somewhere I read about him, he always used to say, something that I feel I can attempt really easily, I don't take up those kind of roles. He always used to pick the roles that were extremely challenging, that he thought that he will not be able to do, because he said, when I bridge the gap between what's possible and what's impossible, that is where the true job satisfaction lies. One of the examples that I want to give was when he was training for 2 of his films. Actually, I'll give you the examples because they are the landmark in his career. Kedarnath. It was a very, very physically fit, intensive film. He needed to be really physically fit because he was playing the role of a Pittu. Pittu are these people who carry pilgrims on their shoulders and they do the yatra, the Padyatra.
Now, we have a video for this, right?
Yes, he had converted his entire bedroom to look like the set of Kedarnath so he could get into the skin of the character. And he used to train with dead weights, which were equivalent to the weight of the lady that he was going to carry on his shoulders. Yeah.
All right, you guys.
Check this video out.
आदिदेव शंकरा तेरे जाप के बिना चले ये सांस किस तरह मेरा कर्म तू ही जाने क्या बुरा है क्या भला तेरे रास्ते पे मैं तो आंख मूंद के चला तेरे नाम की जोत ने सारा हर लिया तमस मेरा नमो नमो शंकरा भोलेनाथ शंकरा जय त्रिलोकनाथ शंभु हे शिवाय शंकरा नमो नमो शंकरा
We're back. Okay, so me and Poonam were talking while the video was on instead of watching. So
I watched it 100 times already.
I really liked it. I watched it right before the show. I really liked it.
Very, very method actor. These people are called as method actors because they get into the skin of the character long before the actual character has to be played. So that way, and one other example, perfect example of that is when he was doing the biopic of cricket captain MS Dhoni. He must have practiced the final helicopter shot, which was the winning shot of Dhoni when we won the World Cup, 225 times every day. And he was training rigorously with Kiran More sir for 13 months for this role so that
Wow.
he could come. At the end of this role, wherever he used to give press interviews, people were actually mistaking him to be Mr. Dhoni.
Oh,
That's how much he got into the skin of the character, the look, the feel, the dialogues, the technique of playing. And mind you guys, it is not easy for a non-cricketer to look like a cricket pro. Forget even like, doing shots and stuff. He actually mastered cricket. By the end of the movie, he was actually
a
looking like
good
a cricketer.
Wow. So, I want to ask you an important question that's just come from Navi. How does the Bollywood drug angle tie into this? Is this to distract folks from the real case? Would love to hear your thoughts and research. That is a great question, Navi.
Yes, very good question. So, based on whatever I have read and seen, I really don't think that it is something to distract from the case because, like I said, he has been assassinated. It was not a suicide, which I think most of us know and believe by now. I never believed from day one that it was a suicide. Now, if he was murdered, there must have been some reason. And according to my research, the reason is that he knew too much about certain too many people
Correct.
that were around him in his Bollywood circle, and he refused to comply by what they wanted him to do. He refused to adhere by the normal common norms of Bollywood, the way these clans work. And there has been an underbelly, an underlying talk about a big drug cartel and a drug nexus that is being operated in Bollywood through which these people use and peddle drugs. So it is definitely linked to the case. But I sometimes feel that the way at which the radar is being focused only on that angle, and now they've created this whole parade of Bollywood celebrities that are being summoned for interrogation. I'm just scared that we should not lose focus from the fact that he was assassinated, he was sacrificed, and we definitely need to keep that in the hindsight. So I don't think at any point of time we're defocusing completely. But yes, I do feel that there's a certain amount of derailment that has happened.
Yeah, I think that now, how you open up a can
It's
of
a Pandora's
worms.
box, yeah.
Yeah, and you're just opening up more and more and more. And it's going
And people
further
are taking
and further.
names. So I'm under the scanner. I'm taking your name. You're taking names of other 10 celebrities. So it is spiraling out of control.
Yes.
Like I mentioned, it's like peeling off layers. There are just so many layers to these cases. There's a child trafficking angle. There's a child pornography angle. There's a human trafficking, prostitution, a drug cartel. There are just so many conspiracy theories that are coming up that I'm sure the agencies are also finding it really difficult to wrap their hands around all of this overwhelming information, yet lack of evidence. There is hardly any evidence around him because of the botched up investigation. Thanks to Mumbai police, they handled the case very carelessly.
I think they thought that it was going to be another Shri Devi sort of a case.
And some
open
of
and
them were
shut.
involved is what the rumor on the street is. And that's why they deliberately wanted to put a lid on it and just kind of sell it off as a suicide.
Yep. And I am so glad that all this is happening and the drug angle and the trafficking angle has come out, because this is an eye opener not only for Indians in India, but it is an eye opener for Indians all over the world, all over the globe, to see what is happening in India and what we can do to help. Now, there is a charity organization that just opened up. Let's talk about that.
I was going to talk about how the public got so involved in this case because we all felt like he was one of our own that was taken away from us. And because of this enormous public outrage, everybody's feeling disgusted with all the details that are emerging every day. There are some public forums, like my dear friend Varun Kapoor has a small show in Bay Area under the affiliation of Radio Mirchi. It's called as the Varun Kapoor Live Show. And he brings different kinds of people from different walks of life to talk about different things, just like how we're doing your show. And off lately, the only topic that we've been discussing about is Sushant Singh Rajput. And he has been converted into an SSR warrior like I did. And we've all taken it upon ourselves personally to, in our little ways, contribute to this so-called digital revolution to get him justice. And one of the endeavors is this website that he has launched. It's called as westandforjustice.org. They're still working on the landing page and everything. But basically, the gist of this website is it's designed to help common people like us who need a platform to be heard, to be talked. We have, somebody in your family has been missing, has been murdered. If you have not been able to get help from the right side of the law, this is a public podium by the people, for the people, of the people, that will give you that platform to come together in a unified way and talk about the relevant issues. And I think the power of people is amazing. This is the age and generation where public makes a lot of difference. We can make and break a celebrity. So right now, what they're doing is they're doing some great work in trying to bring together talented people and create a resource pool, so we can figure out the next steps in how to not only get justice for SSR. That's just a benchmark. He's paved this way for us to be able to help other people, but also help other people in need.
I'm so glad for that. But you know what? I want to go back to SSR. So
Sure.
we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to show you guys a fashion tip that I promise you every week. And then I want to ask you about some particular stars.
Okay.
So here is a raw silk digital print jacket by Charu Parashar. Absolutely beautiful. It's got sequins on it. And you know what? There's so many different ways when you get a high quality piece of clothing, things that you can do with it. And we're going to show you 7 different ways with our model, Megan Gunn.
सारी रात नींद ना आवे तैनू बड़ा तड़पावे दिल चैन कहीं ना पावे 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 आशिकी में हाय कैसी बादियां है खेली जान जान कह के तूने जान मेरी ले ली मेरे लिए सबका दिल है आवारा मेरे बिना होना नहीं है गुजारा
मैनू कदी मैनू जुल्ती लैते सोनिया मैं कहना गोरिए ना 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 तेरी अखियां तेरी सखियां जेड़ी गोगल पाके रखियां तेरा कोका तेरी बाली तेरा हंसना तेरी गाली कमाल है कमाल है.
Okay, we're back. I hope you guys enjoyed that. So 1 jacket, 7 ways to wear it. That was pretty cool. So now let's get back to, for those of you who just joined, I am here with Poonam Shah, our SSR warrior, talking about a huge Bollywood star that was apparently murdered in June. And it has changed the entire world or life of all Indians, because we are seeing so many things that we have never experienced before. I have a very good question from Avni here, but I first want to talk about, if I can, Salman Khan. They're saying that he has gone to Dubai and he's there on a break with his family. What is your take on that?
Everybody, all the Bollywood stars are running right now away for whatever reason. Some are going away to do a full body detox because they feel like their name is going to be next on the list that the Narcotics Control Bureau is going to put out to summon them. Because like I said, we've just opened a can of worms. Everybody's taking everybody's name. So a lot of people are just going for detoxes. People are going away with family because they don't want their families to come under the scanner and experience all the duress that is happening. Because you got to understand one thing: paparazzi and media in India is extremely ruthless and unforgiving. In this situation, it is working in our favor, because had the media not gotten involved to this extent, his demise would have been brushed under the carpet like all the other big Bollywood stars till date. So going back to Avni's question, yes, there is a speculated political angle to it, and to some extent I agree. There is one against it as well as one for it. The political angle that is against this case is alleged involvement of a certain politician who holds an important cabinet in Bombay. Is being speculated that he's amongst the crux of all of this, and he's probably the main linchpin, and because of which the entire investigation is being delayed, because obviously these are big names that we're taking. And then the BJP angle, obviously the center is not very happy about whatever is happening, and I'm glad that BJP and Modi ji are supporting this case, even if for a minute we consider the hypothetical fact that they might be doing it for their selfish motives,
Right.
because they want to overturn the other ruling party in Bombay right now. I don't care. For me, what, as a viewer and as an avid SSR warrior, till it fits in my agenda and till I am till their motives are aligning with our motive of getting justice for Sushant Singh Rajput, I'm fine with that. And the rumor has it today, there is actually two important rumors. And the reason I say rumor, because I don't believe I don't believe anything until it makes it to the press and it's sealed and stamped, with the government thing. So they're saying that we are going to very soon get section IPC 302, which is basically, this was a murder, is what the CBI is working on. So in the next 1 week or so, you should be able to hear that as a good news.
So this is the new
that's
development.
a new development, that it may be booked under IPC 302. So it's no longer suicide. It's no longer abetment of suicide. It will actually be indicted and investigated as a murder. And the second thing that I heard on one of the talk shows today was that the president's rule is going to be in effect in Bombay, which is going to pave the way for re-elections. And if that happens, I sincerely hope that the current ruling party gets overturned by whichever the deserving party is in the future. I'm not a very avid political follower, so I don't know the nitty-gritties of it. But what it means to me is, if that helps me put myself one step closer to getting justice for SSR, then be it.
Absolutely. I am just going to check really quick if we have any more questions. Now, if we have not answered your questions or you have other questions.
So Dishi has one question. Why did he move away from his very eclectic, cozy, safe, secure home in Juhu to a very stale-looking Bandra home? Okay, so there are a couple of stories that I have read about this. So apparently his then girlfriend, Riya Chakraborty, had started brainwashing him into believing that he is a patient of anxiety and depression and bipolar disorder.
And when did this happen?
So this happened right after their Europe trip, sometime in 2019, late of 2019. And at some point, she led him to believe that his then house was haunted and that it was really bad for his psyche. And that's the reason they decided to move to a different home. Another reason that is in the news is also that he had purchased a gigantic, very, very expensive telescope so that he could pursue his passion and hobby of stargazing. And apparently this particular location from his Bandra house was more suitable for him to be able to look at the galaxy from a certain angle. But the haunting of the prior home was the main deciding factor. When she came into his life, she pretty much changed everything. She made him change his house. She fired his entire staff at that time. She even dissolved his pro team, and she completely took over by hiring all of her people.
That is so interesting.
Yeah. These are the things, these are out there in public domain. Those of you who are interested can read up more. I have so many resources that I'd be happy to share.
Okay, that sounds great. So if you guys have questions, please ask them in the comments. And I'm going to go back to the comments to see if we have anything that is...
Yes, he did really have a very, very innocent smile. I did read Sapna, I think, commented, yes. And I do adore him for his innocence. He was extremely a good human being, and he never bragged about any of his donations.
All right, one more question.
How would you summarize his relationship with his family? Navi, so he was a boon child, okay? The parents had tried to have, he was a fifth son over 4 daughters. Actually, he was the 6th. One of their siblings passed away at an early age. So he was, जैसे हम हिंदी में कहते हैं कि मन्नत से मांगा हुआ मन्नत child था, you know, over 4 sisters. He was the most pampered and the most loved one in his family. His family is a family of extreme academics. Everybody in his family is highly educated. There are lawyers, state-level cricketers, there are doctors. All the 4 sisters are very educated. She's saying that she's...
heard that some interviews where Ria has been accused...
Yes,
has accused his family of not being there when he needed them.
And that is probably going to be the case with anybody who is accused of being the main perpetrator in this so-called murder. If somebody accuses me of murdering my boyfriend, the first finger I'm going to point is going to be at his family, because I'm obviously going to try and save myself. I don't feel there is any truth in it, just because The sister that is in the United States of America, she stays in California. If you look at the way she's been fighting this battle single-handedly, digitally from day one, there is no doubt in my mind that they loved him. There are plenty of videos out there on the public domain to prove that all the siblings had an amazing bond. So
this just happened
that's what
such
I
an
would like to.
unfortunate time.
I would like to believe that there was nothing wrong at the family end.
And I have a video of another Bollywood star talking about him.
Yeah, look at what his colleagues had to say about him.
Happened. Sushant Singh Rajput, I think you had mentioned in the telephonic that he's a fabulous guy, and I think a terrific actor as well, and I think someone who has a lot of style around him.
Yeah.
Acting एक चीज होती है, but एक style होना मतलब the way he walks and everything, और लगता है कि मतलब वो बिल्कुल शेर आदमी.
I always used to say, "अरे आ गया, star आ गया. Don't do star tantrums." I always used to talk like this with him, but that's because he's very innocent. He'll suddenly do this and that, and then you feel like, what are you doing? How are you behaving? And then you'll be like, नहीं मैं तो ऐसे ही कर रहा था. He's very sweet.
Okay, you guys. So Poonam and I were discussing that we are definitely going to have an SSR part 2. I don't know if we're going to do it next week or we have to wait. I think we need to wait a little while for some more developments to happen so that we know what is happening with the case. And, there's so many angles to him that I think that it would be incredible to learn more about him. And, that sort of changes also what we think of the Bollywood stars, and we can go more in depth. And I know that this is just one star that we have focused on, but I mean, then maybe you can talk about other stars who were so great. Shri Devi, for example, who died, and of course her case was completely ignored. So for those of you who are interested, please do let us know. I see a couple of more comments before we have to close.
His achievements were so amazing. The philanthropic activities that he's done on and off screen, it's really impossible to capture all of that in one episode. We're definitely going to need a part 2, even maybe a part 3 if you all are interested and if we sense a public interest.
Yes.
Because this is a very dear topic to my heart. I have read up and researched so much on it. There's so much filled in here.
Yes.
I would love to share it with you all.
Absolutely.
Just because I feel that as common layman people, we can draw so much inspiration from the way he led his life, from his discipline and everything else, which we'll talk about in part 2, that how as us, how we can relate with him and how we can take and imbibe and emulate some of his qualities in our day-to-day life to become successful.
Okay, last question, you guys, because we are out of time, but where do you think Sandeep has disappeared?
So the way I look at it, Sonali, is this case has gone way past all of these small pawns, as I call them, whether it is Dipesh Sawant or Sandeep or Neeraj, the cook, or Siddharth Pithani. I think now with the involvement of NIA, NCB and CBI, I really don't like to focus on these small aspects. I'm focusing on the main narrative. And I'm really happy that this narrative is gearing towards what we thought from day one, that it's a murder. And now it's going to be investigated with all the right facts. So Sandeep, I'm sure he's there somewhere. If need be, I'm sure they will summon him. And if there is any involvement from his side in the case, I'm sure that will be investigated into. Rest assured, as long as the public momentum keeps going, I want all of you all to keep asking for justice and not die down. The momentum should not die down. As long as we keep exercising this pressure, they will be forced to conduct the investigation in the right manner, because we're leading the investigation. It's we who are his family now.
Absolutely. I think that now, you guys, we need all the support that we can get. So for those of you who are interested, please, I see several already. I see lots of comments. Okay. For people who are interested in a part 2, that sounds great. Poonam, I want to thank you for being on the show and giving us so much enlightening information about the SSR case. And we would love to keep knowing more and more about what's happening. I think you're our newspaper for now.
I would love to keep talking more, because every time I talk more about him, I feel that much closer to his energy, and his energy is really contagious. I'm telling you, there is some divine power that's spearheading this whole thing. And I'm hoping that it will give us some sense of closure pretty soon, but at the same time, it will also help us in our personal endeavors. Because that's how Sushant was. He would always think about others first.
And I love that. So we will definitely get back and we'll have part 2. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right, you guys, I hope you guys enjoyed the show today, Design Your Life. And me, your host, Ruby Bhandari. I'm just reminding you that our Silkthreads designer sale, the Bali sale, is going to happen October 7th, and it is going to be at 8:30 in the evening. So I hope that you guys are okay with that time. If you're not, if you think there's a better time, we can change it. But otherwise, 8:30 in the evening, make sure you've had your kids are ready to go to bed and they've already had dinner, because we are going to have a great time with you. We are announcing the cooking contest winners next week. So please go on our page and support each and every one of our candidates. Our 5 semifinalists are extremely talented. And for those of you who are not getting our newsletters, just inbox me. I don't have the link on the top of the video right now, which I am going to do in a minute, but inbox me your email address and tell me that you're interested. If you're signing up for one of the contests, just write in the inbox your email address and that you're interested in a particular winning in a particular contest. All right, you guys, I am looking forward to seeing you next Thursday with our Bollywood star finally. And then we'll talk about SSR and when we want to come on next with Poonam Shah. Take care. Have a great night. Bye.
Thanks for watching Design Your Life. If this episode sparked an idea or a question, I'd love to hear it. Send me a message to my Facebook page, Silkthreads by Ruby Bhandari, or you can email me at info@silkthreads.com. You may be featured on an upcoming episode.
She is